It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
We're alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than last week.
Warmer than last week, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, do apologize for not having an episode last week. But if you're been with us in the past, you know that we are based out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And recently Texas has had some really bad weather. Had snowstorm and it affected the electrical system. Most of us did not have power for part of the week, so we could not record. So, of course, today, as we're recording, it's in the 70s, and they're talking about rain and possible hail. So that's Texas for you. So
Mm-hmm.
Weather's drunk again.
So,
The weather's always drunk in Texas.
I hope everybody is okay out there. And what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well, golly. I'm trying to think what I've been doing, and not a lot.
I don't know. It's hard to narrow it down, really.
Try to stay alive. Does that count? Although when we did get power back, I've been catching up on a lot of the shows that I kind of threw off to the back burner, and now they're coming back up for new seasons. So I'm caught up on The Flash, and what else am I watching?
I don't know.
We could just start randomly guessing shows if you want.
Yeah.
You girl?
Blacklist. Yeah. I've been watching that one again. I'm actually a couple of seasons behind on that. It kind of got weird there for a while, and so I started watching it again, and it was like, oh, yeah.
This is why I stopped watching this. Right.
So once I made it past that season, it was kind of like, okay, maybe we can get back to it. But I forgot the guy's name. He was in a lot of John Adams films.
Who the hell is that? The President John Adams?
No.
John Hughes, maybe?
Yeah, John Hughes.
James Spader.
There we go. James Spader, yes. Every time I see him, I keep thinking, that's Ducky's friend.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of weird because he was like the heartthrob in a lot of those shows and stuff. To see him as the bad guy, well, he's always been a bad guy.
Right.
I mean, whether it's just being a douchebag or whatever, he plays that part very well. But, yeah. But no, other than that, that's pretty much about it. Nothing too exciting.
Other than the life-threatening weather thing.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Like
Well,
I said,
it's kind of hard to
sad.
top that from the last week and a half, really. But yeah.
Well, and it sucked because they tell you, you cover up your windows, keep the heat in, da-da-da-da-da. Well, when you do that and you have no power, you really don't even have enough light to read. So I've been getting all these comic books in, and I can't. When I had the time to actually sit down and read them, I couldn't. I felt like that guy who broke his glasses at the end of the world. I had all the time.
There was finally time. It's just not fair.
But I think Future Shock, isn't that, this is the last week, right? It's over?
The majority of them, yes, but there is one issue of Superman versus Imperial Lex, and that does not come out until the third week of March.
Ah.
That would end the whole series. But yes, it's been a decent read.
Yeah. Quite a few books.
That's how they like it.
Yeah.
It's like 21 or 22 books.
Yeah.
I may be wrong on that number, but it's pretty good.
It's a heck of a delay.
Mm.
But I did want to throw this out. I've told you guys about this comic a few times. These guys are actually local here in Texas, and they've got a comic out called Clerk and Beau. It is hilarious. It is just when I first heard about it, I think it was on Twitter that the guy who writes this reached out to me, and it had just came off of a Kickstarter. And, I said, well, what is it? Tell me what it's about. And he says, well, it's kind of like Pineapple Express meets Alien. And it's like, well, that's a pretty good combo, but how does that work? So I went to their website, which is BG Comics. You can still pick this issue up. And I got it in and I read it, and it was like, okay, that was Alien meets Pineapple Express. I mean, it's good, it's funny, the artwork is pretty decent in it too. So if you guys would like to support local, like I said, these guys are starting it out. I'm very excited for issue 2. I don't know if they're going to do that on a Kickstarter or if they'll sell it from their website now that they've kind of got a readership. So once I hear about it, I'll let you know. But definitely check the first one out. It's pretty good. But other than that, that's all I've really read here recently.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. And I won't spoil anything, but I was kind of doing a little happy dance because my theory for WandaVision was true. And I really patted myself on the back for this because who it is, nobody really thought of. So it was kind of like, haha, I knew it. Anybody who hates dogs is an asshole.
How is that not a spoiler?
It's not, because it's not. Absolutely not. There's a couple of people who didn't like that little dog.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. And I think it's almost done. There's only like 2 more episodes left. So it should start. I mean, with as many head twists and oh my god that they've thrown out at us, I cannot wait to see what the ending of this is going to be. I haven't heard anything about a season 2 yet, so that's kind of scary.
Well, I think this is supposed to be leading into the Doctor Strange film, so we'll just have to see what happens after that, because there's supposed to be ties.
Yeah. So far, I could see that, yeah.
With that and the new Spider-Man movie.
Which, did we finally decide on what the title was?
No, did you see the film clip?
Yeah.
That was pretty funny, but it was kind of evident what the title was going to be.
Yeah.
Because of the board with all the titles. It just looked like it was the evident.
And what's the name of it going to be?
No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spider-Man 2, Electric Boogaloo. Except this is the third one, I think.
Yeah. Had my vote.
But it was funny because, as y'all probably know, and I'm sure people in the audience listening saw, they were throwing out like 3 or 4 different titles yesterday. I mean, Tom Holland tweeted out like a title, and then some of the other actors tweeted out a title. So it was all, and it was make fun of that he accidentally let loose the title from the last film. He blurted it out on accident, so they were kind of playing that up. And I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, No Way Home is the title for the third Spider-Man.
you know, it kind of has me wondering with, you know, Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and everything else being set up from WandaVision. I'm wondering if they're going to go like a multiverse kind of thing. And that's why he can't find his way home. So
There you go.
Well, yeah, they're setting up the multiverse because I mean the Doctor Strange title is the Multiverse of Madness. So
well, there you go. Yep.
There's our first clue right there.
There's the first one. Yep.
So what they need to do is they need to, when they make the fourth one, they need to call it "Can't Find My Way Home" and get Steve Winwood to do the music.
There you go.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Marvel pulls out, though. So far, so good, you know. See, did you hear that? I was talking good about Marvel.
You've talked good about MCU movies plenty of
constantly.
times.
Yeah, constantly.
We
just
need to not get off on any potential tangents from that, and we'll be fine.
Right. Yeah, I said Marvel's done pretty good with MCU.
And supposedly a couple weeks after that, we'll start seeing Falcon in the Winter Soldier series. So.
Woo.
So.
And I heard that Robert Downey Jr. agreed to do Iron Man again. I'm wondering where that's going to come in.
I hadn't heard of that. That would be interesting. I know Don Cheadle's supposed to be in there. It's supposed to be Don Cheadle's doing the whole Armor Wars series for Disney, and they're supposed to address. It's funny because everybody comes out with these articles. It's going to address the death of Tony Stark. I'm like, well, no shit. I kind of figured they may have to do with that since it's talking about his armor and all that. You know,
yeah.
I mean, come on.
So maybe he signed up for flashbacks.
Who knows?
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was the whole big thing a few weeks back that said that Chris Evans had signed up to do Captain America again, not necessarily a film. And of course, everybody went wild about it. And I will admit that I kind of retweeted a couple things about that. And then you get a tweet from Chris Evans that says, "Well, that's news to me." Like, okay, is he playing this, or is this the actual fact?
Well, maybe that's what I had heard. Maybe it was Chris Evans I'm thinking of.
See, now you're changing things. Come on.
Yeah, see, you're confusing me.
Chris Evans can't play Iron Man. That just wouldn't work.
Right. Oh, man, could you imagine the fanboys? Woo! You can't do that.
Well, you talk about that, but I don't know if you saw this about the casting. I forgot what her name was. It's like, let me get it here real quick. As Supergirl for the Flash film, and of course she's the first Latina that's going to be playing the part.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, everybody's like, well, is she going to dye her hair blonde or, and all this? And I'm like, oh my God. Nobody pitched a fit about Val Kilmer not having black hair when he played Bruce Wayne. Yeah. So give me a fucking break.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to stay away from fandoms here lately. Some of them are kind of...
Sasha Calle is her name. So that's... Don't really know anything about her work, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah.
Should be interesting.
But yeah, I mean, the immediate flash, comeback was, well, are they going to dye her hair blonde? She should be Caucasian. It's like, and of course, the immediate response was, well, I mean, Kal-El has black hair. So, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's so freaking aggravating.
It is. Well, things can change,
I don't know. So anyway,
Yeah.
all right, go ahead, Mikey.
Okay. So from praising Marvel movies,
Mm.
we're going to go to what I'm going to talk about.
He's about to trash them. No.
No, it's got nothing to do with Marvel movies, but it is a movie because I took a dare,
Uh-oh.
and I watched a movie that Les talked about a few weeks ago
Uh-oh.
called The Astro Zombies.
You lost a bet to Les.
This was no, I wish money was going to change hands over this, but it's not. I would feel better if it was something like that. This was from 60. Now I'm trying to remember. What an idiot! I should have looked it up. 68, something like that. I think it was later. But yeah, this is a movie that I have a lot of questions about. And the first and most obvious question about it is, how in the hell did this get released? Because this is, wow. I have a hard time calling this a movie, to be honest. It's bad. It's impressively bad. I have not watched very many movies. I mean, I've watched movies with like a really bad story. What you don't find very often is a movie that doesn't appear to have a story. Outside of the works of Ed Wood, of course. This movie didn't really have a story. I thought for a little bit that it was like 3 different movies stuck together, kind of woven together. But that doesn't even explain how weird it is. So it's about a group of, I'm not even sure what they were. I guess they were working for the government somehow. I guess they were federal agents. I'm not entirely sure. It was not super clear. Half of them seemed to be scientists. So it was kind of weird. And they were trying to stop this crazy mad scientist from creating these zombie monsters. And I'm not sure what the purpose of the zombie monsters was. I'm also not sure why they kept calling them Astro Men and Astro Zombies, because there wasn't anything space related about them that I could tell. Feel free to jump in and correct me, Les, if you so desire. If you picked up something I didn't out of this, by all means correct me. But yeah, so essentially part of this movie, you've got a handful of young-ish white guys running around looking like cops and trying to find this mad scientist. Plus you've got the mad scientist who was played by John Carradine, which shocked the hell out of me. I mean, this guy took any role as far as I can tell. Good Lord. No matter how little it paid. And the odd part about his scenes was, yeah, he was the mad scientist. He was creating these zombie guys. There was an impressive amount of technobabble, and his scenes were him talking. And admittedly, there was an assistant, and he was apparently explaining the entire process in exacting detail to this assistant, who was mute, so he never said anything back. This is, I mean, in a 90-minute movie, this is a good 30 minutes worth of the movie is literally John Carradine spewing technobabble into the ether. It was very weird. And I mean, he's walking around and doing stuff and being in a lab and that sort of thing. And so then there's this third part, which is, I guess, and I have to guess because they did not explain it in any detail, was this woman who was apparently from a foreign government which was never named, who was also trying to find this mad scientist. And again, none of these people really cross paths at all. She's got a couple of sidekicks, one of whom is this really weird and creepy guy who is apparently also some kind of scientist, although he's got a thing for switchblades and hurting people. I mean, he was like either the smartest thug you ever saw or just so poorly written that you can't fathom what the guy really was supposed to be. Very, very weird character. And then they kind of all run into each other in the last 3 minutes of the movie. And there's some explosions, and all the zombie guys get destroyed, and everybody dies, and it's over. And I will never get that 90 minutes back, ever. I mean,
accomplish less.
Honestly, it was interesting in the fact that it's so terrible. I was watching it, and I kept thinking something interesting was going to happen, and then I kept reminding myself, no, let's pick this movie. I am not. It isn't. Nothing's going to happen. It's not. It's
standards lower.
Right, lower your expectations. That's what I was telling myself. And yeah, it was just. I mean, how far off am I, Les? Was there something I missed?
Okay, let's do point counterpoint.
Please do.
I'm going to say, Mike, you're full of shit.
Okay, of course I am. We knew that coming in. Come on now.
No. Okay, John Carradine played Dr. DeMarco. Dr. DeMarco was feeding off the dead to gain their knowledge, their memories, their knowledge to build the superb man, the Astro Man. And Satana was the agent from an unknown country who had no problem in killing people just for the hell of it. And she wanted the knowledge, no pun intended, that DeMarco was trying to accumulate. Her companion, Juan, was the knife-wielding idiot that loved electronics and was able to locate where DeMarco's lab was, and DeMarco never left his lab. If you notice throughout the movie, he never left that stage.
Mm-hmm.
You had the agents, the three agents were two males and a female, and they worked with Dr. Petrovich in a lab. Why they were there, I have no idea. They were saying that they were doctors, and they ended up fooling around more than they did doing research or
Maybe that
spying.
was their research.
Well, one of them was handling one of the lady doctors there. And I'm going, are you, buddy, I would kick your ass for grabbing someone like that. A couple things that I did take from it. One was it looked like they were fixing one of those models, human body models from the 60s. which is very difficult to do if you want to get realism and paint each piece, but it looked like they were just kind of tossing it together. And two, the other big name in the movie, Wendell Corey, wasn't on the screen all that much. And he was the man that was head of the FBI trying to locate Dr. DeMarco. DeMarco's, the funny scene I thought was DeMarco's co-worker, Francho, had a woman on one of the beds, and it just struck me as odd because I thought you wanted dead people to do this, and DeMarco said, Francho, we must do what I say we must do. We can't have your experiment being worked on at this time. And the poor girl was strapped in, wearing a bikini. I can't imagine why that would interest anybody in the audience. She did not have a speaking part. She just was banded on the table and struggled once in a while until she got a shot in the neck for calming purposes. So I'm going to say this was not a good movie, but if you want to see something worse, watch the sequel.
Oh, dear Lord, there was a sequel to this?
Yes,
No,
yes, there was.
I don't know if I can bring myself to do that.
I think it was I want to say March of the End, Astro Zombies or something, and it has Tura Satana in it. It too is a Ted V. Michaels movie, which it was something that caught my eye. I just started watching some of his movies, and I went, God, these are all horrible. But I couldn't look away. It's like driving past an accident on the highway. You just drive slowly so you can look at everything that's going on. Yeah, if you get a chance, don't watch Astro Zombies, because it is 90 minutes you'll never get back. And this way you won't blame me for it either.
Hey, I don't blame you for nothing, man. I chose to do this of my own free will.
It's just mindless. It's mindless.
It's
Science
just mindless. I mean, yeah, you can't even call it mindless entertainment because that would imply that it was entertaining.
True.
But, yeah.
Now,
one other small interesting tidbit was that the screenplay was written by, as you say, Ted Michaels and Wayne Rogers.
Yeah,
Really?
but is that the Wayne Rogers we know from MASH?
It is.
It is. My God, it is.
You were hoping it wasn't, but it was.
Yeah.
This was pre-MASH, obviously, but...
Right.
Yeah.
Not by much, though.
Yeah, only by a few years, but...
I wonder if he was trying to write a part for himself in that, because he could have played most any part except,
no, he didn't want to get caught in it.
He
Wow, I derailed Mike. All right.
I can't argue with that sentiment at all. I wouldn't have wanted to get caught up in this either. Holy moly.
Now, at the first, as the credits were running, I laughed my ass off. Those little mechanical robots. and they were moving, and the one that struck me as funniest was the one that started doing break dancing. because he fell over on his back and he just started spinning. I went, wow, this is predating breakdancing. It was sad.
I thought you were going to say the opening credits were a kitten in a field or something like that.
I would have preferred Bambi meets Godzilla, but I didn't see that around.
I remember the Kitten in a Field movie, so I'm not going there. I watched that one too, and it wasn't really all that much better. It was better, mind you, but not a lot better.
For those who don't get the reference, it's Beware the Blob. That's the sequel.
It was the Blob sequel. Directed by Larry Hagman, another TV star that shouldn't have. But anyway.
Well, I'm sorry that you lost time, but I appreciate you watching just for the hell of it.
Yeah, I mean, I joke about losing time. It was, like I said, it was interesting in the sense of seeing how bad a movie really can be and still get released. I just wow. I somebody watched that and said, yeah, release it. I don't know who that person was, and I don't know when they were diagnosed as blind, but, what are you going to do?
He was blind drunk.
Good. Very, very possible. Very possible. Anyway, hey, it let us, we chewed the scenery a little bit for the podcast, so it was worth it for that.
Speaking about killing time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and there was a major goof in it. In fact, they show it
just the one.
Yeah, no, but the major one that even IMDb picked up was when she shoots the guy in the apartment. She's arguing with her two henchmen and tells them to shoot him, and they're going, well, maybe we don't want to do that. She just turns and shoots, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this, she was wearing a pink dress. When they get back from trying to drive away with the body, then it's green. It goes from pink to green, and then it goes back to pink. You're going, is this one of those mood fabrics that changes whenever you...
It's a mood dress. Yep.
So
you want to talk about quick wardrobe changes? Remind me next week. We will talk about quick wardrobe changes. But anyway, I don't want to foreshadow too much. But the movie for next week has some interesting wardrobe changes. It has some interesting wardrobe in general, but we'll get there.
I thought the one that we watched for today did. Unless I'm a week ahead. God, please don't let me be a week ahead.
I think you're a week ahead.
Did you watch The Blob again?
No.
Did you watch Black Hole?
I still don't think I've seen that one.
You haven't. You'd know.
Yeah.
That's why I made a suggestion that be one of the movie nights. We watch Black Hole so she can get caught up.
Right.
Alrighty, Les.
Well, let's see. Just caught up on some reading. Liz brought it up. The future state is nearing completion, so I'm in pretty good with that. That's 8 weeks of new storylines, which for the most part been pretty good. Very interesting to see a timeline in the future. That's essentially what it's doing is giving you the heroes 5 years in the future and giving you different people such as
Luke
who was Bruce Wayne's Fox, Lucius Fox.
Yeah.
One of his sons is the new Batman.
Yeah, Tim. Is it Tim Fox or something like that?
It wasn't his name like Luke or something?
Is it Jace? It's either Tim. I think it's Jace.
Okay. I know it's not Luke, because Luke was Batwing, and that was the thing. Everybody, or that was the scuttlebutt about this. He was going to be the new Batman, and then they turn around and say, "Well, no, Lucius has this other son who was referenced back in the 80s, but you really hadn't seen in a while, and here he is." So yeah.
Now, see, I have a problem with this.
Uh-oh.
Oh God.
I won't go too far off on this, but
It's not like the black hole, so you're okay.
To me, this wouldn't happen. Batman, I think before he passed down his... Batman came at like a family trauma. That's kind of what formed Batman and made Batman who he was and wanted to do good because, of course, what happened to his parents. He's had several Robins. He's even had a Damian come in, his own flesh and blood and everything else. Why would he hand his mantle over to somebody that wasn't family when he's trained all of them? And to me, it just seemed kind of far-fetched for it to go to someone totally outside of the family. It was kind of like that wouldn't happen. I don't care who he is, what color he is. To me, it would have been a family thing, like a family tradition to carry it on for him, not to,
The only family he had was Damian.
Yeah.
So the idea, what you're doing is you're blocking out Dick Grayson and Tim
Jason.
Huh?
Yeah.
But even those, he viewed them as his son. So I could see him even handing it to one of them before, the guy who made my cars, his son that we've never heard of, is now going to carry my annal in this great honor and pride for me when we don't even know who he is. To me, it was just a little... I think it should have been a family thing.
It was either that or his distant cousin Ralph, and they just didn't want to go that way,
Another child that he didn't know about,
Well, he gave it to Terry McGinnis in
Batman Beyond, yeah.
Batman Beyond.
But didn't he kind of have some kind of training to do with him?
Nope.
No?
Yeah.
No, he was a high school student that, cared for Bruce?
I don't remember exactly how all that came about.
But he ended up with the suit, which more or less gave him the power to do the flips and all that. So I don't remember any training. Hopefully one of our listeners will remember.
Yeah. And for the record, we were both right. His name is Tim Jace Fox.
Okay.
The estranged son of billionaire Lucius Fox.
Guys, I don't know. I didn't like that ideal.
Well, did you like the idea of a new Wonder Woman? I thought that was a great idea.
Yeah, now see, some of them you could see, and like the new Harley Quinn and that kind of thing. And I don't know. I think they're trying to clean her up, I guess is the term I should use. And I don't like her cleaned up. And I realize now that they have Punchline, and that's the route they're going to go with that version and everything else. But I don't know. I just don't like it.
It's so funny because that's exactly what they're doing with Harley. Is they're basically turning into a hero.
Yeah.
And the thing is unless we'll probably remember this, in the late 70s, they introduced the Joker's daughter, and she basically was trying to get the attention of Robin and all that because she wanted to be a hero. So they gave her a new identity. Her name, Harley Quinn. So she was a hero. She was part of Teen Titans, all that, and then they totally forget about her. And then here comes this Harley, and she's so popular. Well, we got to make her a hero. Well, you got this other Harley Quinn. Well, you know what? Screw her. Well, she's back to Joker's daughter, and she's messed up, and this, that, and the other. It's just like, and then they come up with a new Harley, basically a new Harley, and call her Punchline. It's just like, oh, okay, whatever.
To me, Harley will never be a hero. She makes her own rules, or the Harley I knew. I don't know who this Harley is nowadays, but she would do good if it suited her purpose. It was never I want to be a good person, so I need to help this old lady across the street. But by crossing the street, was she going to get something out of return? Then yeah, sure, she might do that, but I don't know. I just don't like this new Harley.
We started this talking about Batman, by the way.
Yeah. So.
Well, I don't like him either.
Right. Hashtag not my Batman.
Exactly.
Goodbye, future state.
Yeah. I mean, it was a cool concept. Cool. I'm glad they didn't go that route for, I would say future lines, but
but they are going that route.
Literally, that is what it is. And and who's to say they're
I thought this
not?
was just a one-off kind of thing, and they were going to go back to normal.
Unless it sells.
Yeah, true.
Or unless they think they can continue to sell it.
Go back to Marvel?
No,
like
that they would go back to
normal.
their normal.
Oh, normal.
Yeah, their normal lines.
Well, the normal line is going to be coming out in this next week, as well as like the new Swamp Thing, which is something from Future State.
Yeah, it's a combination because this is not the end of Tim as Batman. There's going to be another miniseries, and this new Wonder Woman is getting her own book as Wonder Girl, which now we have a fifth Wonder Girl now? I don't know. So yeah, some of these characters and some of these, I don't know if these storylines, but certainly some of these characters are around for good.
Yeah.
Or as long as they sell and are popular.
The new Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
The one that Thomas was talking about, Sensational Wonder Woman. Infinite Frontiers coming out, which is kind of a bridging storyline that's coming out. So this is not done by any means. And to me, that's fine. I don't have a problem. As long as it doesn't get real dragged down.
Yeah.
I think I've said this before. I kind of view this as it seems very similar to what they did with Convergence. Now that was done to help them move from New York to California, but it was basically a break, and then everything came back. But it was, I don't want to say a relaunch or a restart because the numbering in most cases are going to stay the same, but there's been some changes, and that's just like happened with Rebirth. So it just seems very, very, very similar of how they're handling things. Yeah, am I wrong with that, Les? Am I wrong with that assessment?
No.
And whether that's how well that works, well, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. So I haven't read any of them, so I'm kind of interested in a couple of them to see how they go. But so I reserve judgment.
Yeah.
Liz never reserves judgment.
What's
No.
that?
I'm kidding.
Did you have anything else, Les?
No, that's
Okay.
about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Well, I didn't want to step on your toes, so.
No, I appreciate it.
For me, I was catching up on the movies that we were going to be talking about today. Working on stuff for Discord, some of the events that we have coming up, and just that kind of stuff. You know, I hadn't done a heck of a lot of reading, but that'll be changing here real soon. Since I mentioned it, we do have a Discord that you're more than welcome to come join us. The Discord app is free, and the sign up for an account is free. We do have an invite on our homepage, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Come on in and join us. We post news items for discussion. Of course, we have to have a memes channel, which can be funny. We've talked about before. We have a music channel. That's kind of died out a little bit, but that may be picking up again. But it really started off pretty strong. And every month we have a special kind of an activity for the Discord, and that seems to be going over real well. So by all means, come join us and have some fun. Be great to have you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is one thing I want to go ahead and say now before we start into this week's discussion. If I'm not mistaken, this episode will drop on the 28th.
That's the plan.
Okay. That date, February 28th, marks the 5th anniversary of our first podcast dropping.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
So we're about to start year 6, guys.
Great.
God, finally out of those toddler years.
Yes.
Finally, get to go to kindergarten. Woo!
There you go.
Big boy
I
pants.
loved kindergarten.
Woohoo! All right. With that said, we are continuing our spy parody month. It's been kind of interesting, baby.
Oh, it's been interesting. All right.
It's
Yeah,
been
it's
interesting.
been interesting.
And for this week's discussion, we're doubling up since we were unable to do one the previous week. The two films we will be talking about is Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine and Modesty Blaze. Who would like to start off first? And I guess we need to talk about Dr. Goldfoot first.
We can do that. Did you pick all of these from the 60s on purpose?
No.
Okay.
I honestly, I did a Google search of spy parodies. And once I eliminated the Austin Powers films, this is what some of the ones I came up with.
I was just curious because
Yeah.
there's a lot of 60s movies here, and
Yeah.
that's good and bad.
Well,
sure.
and it's probably because of James Bond and all that being so
sure.
popular.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a big wave of them in the 60s.
Yeah.
For sure. And since I started talking, I guess I can get this rolling.
Yeah, why don't you?
Okay, so Dr. Goldfoot. There are two of these movies. And my thing coming into this was that, oh Jesus, Liz, did you watch the wrong one?
No, I've watched. Unfortunately, I watched the right one.
Okay. Not now. Here we go. This will be fun because when I came into this with the recollection that I had seen one of them and it was utterly terrible. So in watching this a couple of weeks ago when I was getting ready, or whenever it was, when I was getting ready for this, I realized this one is not the one I watched. So apparently I watched the sequel years and years ago, and it was awful. To be honest, I didn't think this one was all that terrible. It was cheesy as hell.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, it was, the humor in this movie is downright silly. I mean, it is, I mean, there's some slapstick going on. There's really bad punny jokes. There's just these weird exchanges between characters that, I mean, that aren't necessarily as funny as I think they were intended to be. But overall, I actually kind of liked it. Is it a favorite that I'll go back to forever and ever? No, certainly not. But my general impression of it was that it was not bad. Go ahead. I heard somebody inhale. Probably Liz.
Oh, I'm waiting.
No, I don't mind being interrupted on this one. I mean, this was, like I said, I thought there were things that were not quite right about it, but overall, I thought the intention was good. And if you don't mind silly humor, and if you can stand Frankie Avalon, I actually thought Vincent Price did a pretty nice job with it. Not his best role, but not a terrible role either. I had to look up the guy who played Igor, because I thought he did well enough in that role that I kind of was curious to see what else he had done. And I mean, he had a career, but it wasn't stellar. He was in some TV shows here and there and a few movies. Nothing major. It seems like he was kind of a second banana probably most of his career, which is fine. It worked out okay. He was very silly, but I thought he did it well. He did it better than Frankie Avalon did, that's for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
The guy they had playing what was his name? What was the other guy's name? The other good guy, the millionaire.
Dwayne Hickman.
Yeah. He did all right, but I don't know that he and Frankie really worked that well together. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
But he played Dobie Gillis on television.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah. All right.
Why didn't I know that?
It was one of those guys that I was like, man, he looks familiar. And I
He
looked up his
did.
name, and his name, Dwayne Hickman, didn't ring a bell. And I was like, oh, well, just some guy. I didn't think about it. I didn't really look into it that much. But yeah, that's why I recognized him, for sure.
I used to love Dobie Gillis.
Until you saw this film.
Right. Until this day.
Well, I didn't know Vincent Price was going to be in this one, so that was kind of a surprise. And then I was kind of sad and disappointed that he was in this one.
Oh, this was not his worst movie. Come on now.
No, it wasn't. But to me, it wasn't the kind of movie I think of when I think of Vincent Price. So, he just kind of played a goofy.
This movie is what got him the egghead role. Come on.
Yeah.
On Batman.
Yeah.
And it just took so long to figure out what the hell, And then 10-minute car chase later, it's over, and it's like, wait, what?
That was a long car chase. I agree with you. That was too long for sure.
That
And
was
then
pretty extreme, yeah.
that was
Yeah.
part of the silliness of it, was that it was just so long. But yeah,
Not as long as the opening credits from The Last of the Spies, which that was a gag that ran too long.
Yeah.
that whole movie was a gag that ran too long. But anyway,
Yeah,
They could have used the monkey from that one to do away with this.
that would have been an improvement.
Kind of liven this one up.
the
yeah.
ruthless monkey. Yeah.
I enjoyed Vincent Price in this film. Yeah, I've always had a problem with Frankie Avalon. I never understood why. Well, I understand why, because he was a name, and he would bring in the teenage crowd. I get that, but it just, the whole thing, he he's wanting to be a spy, but he's spending this whole time chasing this girl because he's
In love with
lusting
her
after her.
robot. Yeah.
And you're just going, okay, where does the spy part jump into this? You know, except for the fact that, you know, they figure hell she's trying to get all of the what's his face's money and property and all that kind of stuff.
Todd.
And once again, huh?
Todd Armstrong. Couldn't remember his name for the life. I had to look it up. Sorry.
No, that's fine. And once again, a scientist who does something, comes up with this incredible creation, and you're going, okay, you're sending these robots out to marry men to get their property and bring them back to Vincent Price's character. So he has all this money. Like, okay, yeah, that.
Yeah, okay. I was going to save this for Modesty Blaze, but I'll go ahead and throw it out now.
Okay.
I find it interesting that the 60s, somehow, in the 60s, somehow Hollywood managed to get confused about what a spy movie is versus what a heist movie is. Because this is a heist movie. And honestly, I think I know the source of this confusion. The source of this confusion is the movie Goldfinger. Because Goldfinger has long been the for lack of a better term, gold standard for James Bond movies. And so then it must be what a spy movie is supposed to look like, because James Bond is a spy, don't you know?
Right.
Goldfinger was never a spy movie. It just happened to have a spy in it. He got dragged into that purely by accident. James Bond was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's the only reason that movie happened. Go and read a synopsis of the plot, and you will understand what I'm talking about. It's not a spy movie, but it quickly became the standard for spy movies. And so in the 60s, somewhere in the mid-60s, somewhere around 1965, Hollywood lost track of what a spy movie was. And it just became a big heist thing. And every Bond villain after that, or nearly every Bond villain after that, certainly every Bond villain after about 1970, was just some jerk with power of some sort trying to rob a bank somehow. And it bugs me a little, obviously, because I wanted a spy movie, and this ain't it, and neither is Modesty Blaze for that matter. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
It just irritates me that it's. I mean, you have to go find a freaking George Smiley movie to get a decent spy movie. And the fact that most of the people listening to this don't know what that means, don't know who George Smiley is kind of my point. Okay, I'm done.
Not necessarily, well, not even necessarily a movie. But if you read the George Smiley novels, you get the feel of what's going on.
Right, that's a spy movie. Right, you want a good start? Go read *The Spy Who Came In from the Cold* by John le Carré.
Yes,
I believe that was the first George Smiley book.
I believe you're right.
But anyway, Dr. Goldfoot.
Yeah.
Now, as far as Frankie Avalon goes, granted he wasn't a great actor. Oh, I don't like that sound of smirk there. But you think about it, he was a recording artist before he was an actor. And he became a teen idol because of the singing. That opened up the chance to do movies. So, looking at his Wikipedia page, they talk about teen idols were given roles in films, such as Ricky Nelson in Rio Bravo, and I'm sorry, Avalon got the part in Guns of the Timberland for with Alan Ladd because Ladd's daughter was a fan of Frankie. So in this movie, he was a doofus, I'll admit, as well as his running partner, Hickman. And Hickman, I think, was a choice because of his presence on television. That's how he became an actor. And he was strictly an actor. He was not a singer, thank God. But there are some actors that you wish would just stay with acting and never try to sing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of Clint Eastwood. So
William Shatner.
Well, yeah, I'm talking professionally, though.
Okay.
Somebody in a movie that was singing, you know.
I was kind of surprised he didn't sing in this one. You know, that's what I know him from, other than
True.
like those beachy movies where he did sing all the time, you know.
I was going to say, I didn't know he was in a serious movie, but I didn't really study him for this. I didn't go that direction.
No.
No, it's fine. Somebody did. It's cool.
In fact, he had a small role and sang the title song in the science fiction adventure film Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Huh. He was also in the Mickey Mouse Club.
Well, sure, everybody's got to start somewhere.
And
Was he?
I think he was with the girl he was with all the time.
Annette was.
Yeah.
But I don't think Frankie was.
I could have sworn he was too.
Let's see. Sorry to say, I don't think he was.
You see, I'm willing to give Frankie a little credit for this movie. He tried. I mean, say what you will about his acting. The dude had some energy. I mean, he put his all into the slapstick for sure.
He did.
I mean, he had to have had bruises galore after walking away from this mother, because he was running into something all the time.
Well, I know at the beginning they were confused. She picked the wrong guy. And when you kind of look at the two guys together, they're similar, you know?
Yeah.
So where it kind of played that, yeah, I could see that happening kind of thing. But
Dwayne Hickman had the deadpan look. He was always
serious.
Well, he was befuddled. He'd always look confused when they put a camera on him. And that's the way he was supposed to react.
Well, and that was Dobie Gillis, too.
Right.
Wasn't it? I mean, I've watched a lot of those, but I remember him being the straight man and kind of being out of his league.
The awkward one. Yeah.
But I'm also going to go the other direction, and I'm going to say the second movie, The Girl Bombs, was better than this.
Was he in that one?
I'm sorry?
Was he in that one?
Just as an uncredited part. They would do, look back, they would have a past event shown on screen. And a lot of the cast from Bikini Machine appeared in Girl Bombs just that way. So, as a paid performer, no. I think in the second movie, I thought Price was better because he would mug for the camera, and it was the fourth wall type situation where he could look into the camera and say something, and you kind of go, okay, I understand what you're doing. And of course, it looks like Girl Bombs was a big contributor to the plot of the Austin Powers movie with the girls with the
The fembots.
guns in their brassieres. So
Fembots.
I preferred the second one over this one.
Hey, my memory could be faulty. I'll have to check it out and see.
Now, I will say this, as far as the cast goes, I talked to you folks the other night that my wife walked by and saw me watching this movie and said, is that Victor Von Zipper? What's his name? Harvey Lembeck played the part, and he was playing a leader of a motorcycle gang, and he played the same part. Eric Von Zipper played the part in several movies, and which was kind of fun to see. But my wife walked by and goes, "Is that Eric Von Zipper?" My wife doesn't know the man, but she knows what part he played. I was amazed. This movie, the Bikini Machine, also had Annette Funicello, Deborah Wally, and Fabian in this.
And see, that was another weirdness in this, is all the cameos, or most of the cameos, they crammed into like a 90-second bit as they're walking through the dungeon.
But they were doing this for the movie that was being played at one of the theaters. It was a movie that was coming out called The Girl in the Glass Bikini, which became the Ghost in the Invisible Bikini. And those people had parts in that movie too. So it was just kind of saying, here are these people, look for them in this upcoming movie. And of course the youngsters at the time were clamoring to see this thing. And this was past my clamoring time. I was not all that into Annette Funicello or some of the others.
You'd already clamored, huh?
I'd clammed up.
It was a clam bake.
Oh God, that was a bad movie too. Walk away from that one.
Yeah, I know.
That's where he sang "Do the Clam." Yeah.
To the clam. I don't even want to know.
It was an awkward time.
But Bikini Machine was okay. I just thought the Girl Bombs was better.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out, because maybe I'm remembering something wrong.
Well, don't do it on my account.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that again for a while.
We've already had to live through that.
I will say about this one person that I thought did a really stellar job was Susan Hart. She was the robot. She was the money hunting robot, and I mean, admittedly, she was playing a robot, and so to call her performance stiff would be more than just a bad pun. But I thought she handled it pretty well. I mean, she did a lot of things in that very strange role that I thought came across well. I thought she did a nice job in what had to have been a very weird and restrictive role. She would have had to. I don't know if she did that naturally and it just sort of happened that way, or if it was something she had to study the role for. But either way, I thought it came out really well. I mean, she outacted Frankie for damn sure. But that wasn't hard.
I don't think anybody studied for this role.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to go ahead and move on to modesty?
Yeah, we can do that.
You have to.
Uh-oh. Foreshadowing.
Well, tell us your thoughts here, Les. You've already started.
Okay. I would rename this movie Modesty Blasé. It was painful to watch. And Mike was saying that he'll never get the 90 minutes back. I'll never get the 2 hours back.
2 hours.
And there was nothing to show for it. This one was about a ex-con. She was also a what do I want to say? A model. And they were just trying to keep somebody from stealing diamonds that were to be delivered to her adoptive father, a sheikh. I would say probably the one high point of the movie was Terrence Stamp.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a second with Dirk Bogarde. But I'm sorry, I just cringed through 2 hours of this crap. And I'm being nice.
Yeah.
It was so pathetic. And I know that it was a 60s movie. They were trying to live off the comic strip, Modesty Blaze. But if I was the creator of Blaze, I would have been just beside myself going, what the hell is this? I was not impressed. There was nothing funny in it.
No.
This is another one of those that the best part of the movie was the end, because I didn't have to sit through any more pain. And I'm sorry, but Peter O'Donnell and Jim Holdaway, the cartoon creators, just should have been shaking their heads. I know they were trying to be modern, but there were so many things that were fallible. So I just shuddered the whole time. Thank you, and good night.
Yeah, I didn't care for this one either. If I was to meet this character, I couldn't talk to her for very long because she sounded like she was like totally stoned out of her gourd or something. So that was annoying. Her dress that kept changing colors every time you would see her, that was annoying. It was like I could understand if it was a cute dress and they kept wanting to wear the same thing, but it wasn't. So after a while, it was like, how many colors is this? I didn't really get spy from this one because she was kind of obvious in everything she did. You know, I always find it amazing how quick people fall in love in these movies.
Oh, yeah.
They almost declared love for each other over his dead girlfriend's body. So it's kind of like, that was weird. You can't fight in heels. I'm sorry.
It's true.
There's just...
Are we talking from experience?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about mine.
Right, he was talking to me.
I quickly agreed with you.
And the scene with all them dolls hanging off the buildings, that was creepy as fuck, man. I mean, that was supposed to be something fun, and that was creepy. Especially with the carnival music playing. That was just like, yeah. I've seen a movie start this way.
It didn't end well then either, but anyway.
No. Not
Yeah,
for that guy's girlfriend, it didn't.
And this is you complaining about creepy. That's saying something. Just want to say that.
Yeah,
Just
really.
want that to be pointed out here.
And she was the one that I was interested in the whole movie.
The one that died?
Yeah. She was the one that I could understand.
Yeah. She didn't sound messed up.
Because Monica Vitti's accent, Italian accent, drove me crazy.
That was a lot of accent for sure.
Yeah.
And trying to sound British, it just didn't sound good at all.
Oh, is that what she was doing?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't tell.
Just go with the stone thing. It sounded better.
Just go with it, Mike. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
She was talking with marbles in her mouth as it was.
Something.
That's a different movie too. But anyway.
Putting on the Ritz.
Wow.
And I didn't understand her being a son.
I think that was part of the joke.
Okay. I didn't get that joke.
That was
Probably because it wasn't a good joke.
Yeah.
more 60s sexism run rampant.
Yeah.
She was worth more than a daughter. That was the whole point.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't care for this one either.
Well, in an attempt to save this a little bit,
Try.
Too late.
Okay.
Go ahead and try to save it, Mike.
So-
I'll tear it down after you do it.
That's fine. That's fine. Good to know. Damn, I should have waited to go last, but that's okay. I actually didn't have anywhere near the level of problems with it that you guys appeared to have. Because by this time I had figured it, like I said before, by this time I had figured out that these were not spy movies. Pretty much none of these are spy movies in the strictest sense. This was a heist. And I mean, they didn't use the word heist, but I mean, this was about, the whole point of this was diamonds. So I'm like, okay, we're looking at another heist movie here. No problem. And taken in that context, I didn't think it was terrible. I mean, okay, the Modesty Blaze character was very over the top. Way more than it needed to be, I thought. My guess is, and I had not read the comic strips, so I couldn't tell you for sure, but my guess is way more over the top in this movie than she ever was in the comic strips. So I think that was kind of put on after the fact. So that was made part of the film to try to make the film more interesting. It was a spectacle for sure. I'm not sure it was great. I wouldn't call it great, but and I do agree that Terrence Stamp was really good.
Which one was he?
He was Willie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah. Took me a little while to figure out that was Terrence Stamp, but that's just because it was dark in his scenes up to a certain point.
Right.
As far as the acting goes, Monica Vitti was pretty. I mean, yeah.
I think that's all they wanted from her.
I think you're right. I think that's how she got cast in this, was that they thought they could put wigs on her and she would look good no matter what they did to her. The fact that she barely spoke English was, whatever. It's not the first time we've had that, but
Yeah.
but you know,
They could work with it.
And Dirk Bogarde was, interestingly over the top in his role. But again, I mean, he's a Bond villain. What are you going to do? He's supposed to be over the top.
Right.
And so I followed along, and I agreed this wasn't, I didn't think this was a comedy at all either. Which doesn't mean it's not a parody. It just probably means it's not a very good parody. We'll get to movies that aren't funny later again too, but I kind of didn't hold that against it when I was watching it. But there was a point. So I mean, I thought it was okay at least up to a specific point. And not gonna lie, that point was when they started singing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had. Okay, I probably would have had a problem with it. Yep, but if it had happened earlier, if it had been the whole movie, if they had been singing occasionally through the whole movie, okay, that's fine. You want to add a musical element to the movie, great. Don't start pulling that shit 30 minutes before the end.
Right.
Because that's just stupid. This was not a musical before the hour 30 mark. And I was just like, oh no. I knew right then and there what was going to happen at the end of this movie. I was like, I honestly
Sing it out.
don't know how this movie is going to end yet. They did a reasonably good job of kind of not broadcasting the ending, but I knew for a fact that there was going to be another stupid song. And they were going to sing this mother out. And I was like, fuck. I wanted to like this movie. But by the time I got to like the 95-minute mark, I couldn't anymore. I just couldn't. And then, the actual ending of this movie, I was just, the last 15 minutes, I just, you couldn't have wiped the disgusted look off my face if you tried. You couldn't have done it with a Clorox wipe, I swear. It was, oh my God, because that was the point, I guess, in the shooting, in the principal photography, where they decided, oh shit, this needs to be a comedy. We need to do something funny. And so they tried to do something funny. Except they tried to cram 2 hours worth of funny into the last 15 minutes of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just stupid. Okay, we're going to have... Okay, first off, Dirk Bogarde is finally going to rip that stupid wig off of his head and stop pretending to be whatever the hell it is he's pretending to be. Why they did that, I have no idea. I was fine with the hair. Whatever about the hair. But ripping the wig off in the scene and walking and just storming out, I was like, oh, what in the hell?
Right.
And then the quote-unquote invasion began. And I'm like, why are we making fun of military in this movie that wasn't even about military up until 30 seconds ago? Because that couldn't have been a more stupidly slapstick fiasco if they had tried. That was hard to watch. I was fine until, like I said, I was even okay after the first song, because again, there's 20 minutes between the first song, or 25 minutes between the first song and the last song in this movie, which is the second song. Up until the point where, because we actually had the heist in the middle of there. We actually did the stealing of the thing. I'm like, okay, that's good. You should actually, in a heist movie, you should have something being heisted. That's great. Awesome.
Right.
And then it went to hell. And I'm having a hard, other than the Astro Zombies, I'm having a hard time remembering a worse ending to a movie that I've seen in a while. Because, God.
Well, it proved my theory once again. Bad guys can't aim for shit.
Oh, they weren't even trying. They weren't shooting bullets. What are you talking? Oh my God, it was just so terrible.
Yeah.
It was
pretty bad.
fine up until once you get off the boat. Honestly, just run away, jump into the ocean and swim away, and that's the end of the movie. Please, please let that be the end of the movie. Oh no.
We got to go to the desert.
This thing's got to start swirling to go down the toilet. Oh my God. It was fine. It was not a fantastic movie, but it was a decent movie up until that point. And they just didn't know how to end it. And it's so infuriating that they apparently spent a lot of money on that ending. Ugh.
Now,
What do you think, Thomas?
I thought it sucked. That's all.
Okay.
he'll be here all week.
He ain't the best color man in baseball for nothing, folks.
Fly ball caught. I don't know how many times I lost interest in this film and had to work myself back into trying to pay attention and see what's going on. It just, oh God, it was so bad. It was like, maybe it was just me. It was like it was trying to be too cool for school and was severely falling on its face every couple of minutes. That's just my vibe. That was just the impression I was given. It was really cool to see Terrence Stamp in there. Man, he deserved better, but you know. I don't really have much more to add than what y'all said, so.
Understandable.
I think y'all did a great job covering it, so.
Yeah.
And for your knowledge, there is a movie came out in 2004, called My Name is Modesty. Directed by Scott Spiegel, Quentin Tarantino was the executive producer. And it is the character of Modesty Blaze, a former crime boss turned secret agent.
I wonder if it's any better.
Please tell me it's better than this one.
There's no way. They've got to be equally bad.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know if I got enough rabbit hole to go watch that one, to be honest. We'll see.
Right.
Maybe someday.
So, all right. Well, any final thoughts on these two movies before we move on?
I can bust out in song.
I was going to say the less said the better, but we've been yammering on for nearly an hour about them.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, we are going to take a quick break and be back with our weekly picks. And we're back, and it's time for our weekly picks. And leading off this week is Mike.
Yay, I'm leading off. My first pick is from Dark Horse Comics, and I'm picking Mike Mignola, The Quarantine Sketchbook. This is, much as the title might lead you to believe, a collection of sketches that the Hellboy creator made basically over the last year. He was making sketches and posting them online and then auctioning off the original art to raise money for charity. And since that ended up being so dang popular, he decided to go ahead and put it all together into a book and publish it. Proceeds are also going to charity again. And, well, dang it, they're Mignola pieces. So you should at least take a look at them, even if that doesn't mean anything to you, because dude's awesome. So There you go.
Very nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Alrighty, I am next, and for my first choice, I'm going with from Marvel Comics. It is another addition to their Epic Collection line, and this is X-Men: Fate of the Phoenix. And this collects issues 129 through 143, X-Men Annual 4, Marvel Treasury Editions 26, 27, Phoenix the Untold Story, and then material from Marvel Team Up number 100. And this includes the Dark Phoenix saga. It also includes Days of Future Past in here as well. So this is some great material here by Claremont and Byrne. This is basically the peak of their time on the book. So definitely worth picking up.
Cool.
I like that.
Cool.
Alrighty, Les.
My first choice is from Image Comics. It is Nocterra, number 1. In this, you have the creators Scott Snyder and Tony S. Daniel bring forth a new character, Valentina Riggs, a person who transports people and goods along the heavily illuminated 18-wheeler troop. And what this story is the world has been plunged into an everlasting night that turns all living creatures into monstrous shades. So, by transporting these people, Valentina Riggs is a savior, trucker. So this is going to have a lot of horror in it. And I'm pretty thrilled about this part. So, I'm in.
Cool.
Nice. Alrighty, Liz.
All right. For my first pick, I'm going with, excuse me, Rick and Morty presents the Jerry Beret. I think it was the first season of Rick and Morty. They introduced us to the Jerry Beret. It's a place where when you got stuck with Jerry, you could drop him off, and there was like other Jerrys he could play with, kind of like a Jerry daycare. Well, the daycare has decided they're going to a arcade called Blips and Chips. And of course, these guys, anything that can go wrong will go wrong because it's Jerry. So with cutting edge arcade technology and Jerry, should be a fun read. This is going along with the one-shots they've been doing here lately. So one and done, should be a cute little story.
No, you're giggling just explaining it to us, so obviously.
Right. Like I said, the Jerry daycare episode was probably one of my favorite ones, just because the way Jerry is, he's pathetic. So when you get 50 of them in a room, it's like, oh God. You can see why they were dropped off there.
The marvel is that anybody ever picked them up.
Mm-hmm. Most of them weren't. Most of them had been abandoned there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Mike, you're up again.
Okay, so my second pick is from Boom Studios, and I am picking Berserker, number 1. This is a book that I'm not sure it matters what the story is, but because this is the one that that's the Keanu Reeves thing. This is it. It's finally coming out. It's been hyped for God, I don't know how long, a while now.
It's been delayed too.
There's been art. I think we've seen art and stuff from it for God. It seems like 2 years, but I don't know if that's right. Time is weird these days. I have no idea. But anyway, so there is actually a story to it. And the story is about the character whose name is Berserker, or at least that's what people know him as. He is half mortal and half god, and violence is kind of what he does. He has found kind of he's been around forever, and he's kind of found a place working for the United States government, fighting fights for them, the ones that you can't send the military in on, that sort of thing. And his whole purpose is to find why he is what he is, to figure out what makes him essentially immortal. And so it actually sounds like a decent story, I think. So I kind of am interested in seeing how it goes. I would be interested in checking this one out.
Find out why he's the best he is, but what he is at is not very nice.
Well, I wasn't really going to make that connection in the plugging the book and all, but it's not super original necessarily, but
I'm not.
I'm
not complaining. It just kind of gives me that vibe, which is, hey, that's okay. That's cool.
Right. It can be fun. There's lots of different ways you can take it, and hey, Matt Kent's involved, so why not, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's always worth it, right there.
No, all right. That does sound pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I am next, and for my second choice, I'm going with this is actually a softcover edition. Hardcover's already been released from Tomorrow's Publishing, and it's called Reed Crandall, Illustrator of Comics. And this is the story of course, Reed Crandall, who was illustrator from the 1940s through the 1970s. Worked on some of the superheroes from the Golden Age, like Dollman, the Ray, and the character that he's probably best known with is Black Hawk. He was also with Warren Publishers books, Easy Comics. It just a lot of really, just a very underrated artist, and it's nice to see that he's getting a little attention here. So definitely want to check this out. It's some nice art.
Cool.
Awesome.
I agree. Crandall was one of the reasons I started reading the Warren Publishing like creepy and eerie, just because of his beautiful artwork.
Yeah.
Because it was like this single line for shading and things like this. It's just amazing stuff. I want to find a copy myself.
It should be cool. It's and I appreciate Tomorrow's Publishing for doing books like this to make some of us aware of some of these creators that we would otherwise never know and appreciate. So, all right, Les, you're next.
My second choice comes from DC, and it is a 6-issue mini bringing out one of the favorite groups that I've always enjoyed with their appearances in DC, and that's Crime Syndicate. Written by Andy Schmidt, illustrated by Brian Hitch and Kieran McCowan. Crime Syndicate first appeared in Justice League number 29, and that was in August of '64. The Crime Syndicate is the original Crime Syndicate were 5 members that were parallels of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Flash. And because of them they, on Earth 3, they ran the planet. They were criminals, and they had total power over the planet itself. And in this, you had, let's see, I'm trying to remember the original characters were Superwoman, Power Man,
Owlman.
Power Ring, thank you.
Yeah.
Who's the Flash?
Oh, I can't remember right now.
For some unknown reason. Ultraman, Superwoman, Owlman, Johnny Quick, and Power Ring.
Yeah.
And the reason I want to see this series is because I've always enjoyed, like I said, the idea of criminals running a whole planet. They've gone on to expand members, and of course each is reflected on Earth Prime. So it's just a great idea to keep these characters going. I'm in on this for 6 issues. Hopefully they'll bring something from it too. This was all begun because of the Dark Metal series that DC just finished up. So I'm in.
Cool.
Sounds like fun.
Honestly, it's kind of surprising that they hadn't done something kind of featured them on their own before now. But yeah. Yeah, I'm interested as well. Okay, Liz.
All right. For my second pick, it's one from Keenspot. It's called Grubs. They're calling this a cross between Calvin and Hobbes and Dennis the Menace. So this will be a throwback to simpler times, they said. So I'm kind of excited about that one. In our first issue, it kind of looks like we're just going to kind of meet everybody. Billy is the main Dennis in this comic, and he's got an older brother that he likes to annoy and a sister. So along with that, he's also got a dog named Cigar and an imaginary friend, Tyler. We all know about them imaginary friends named Tyler. Hopefully it doesn't work out like that. So, this one should be cute. I'm excited to see what they do. Like I said, it's all ages, so definitely pick this one up.
Good.
Liz's cute pick of the week right there.
Yep.
Cool. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, actually, this was on my radar as well. So I'm glad it's getting a little push from us. So.
Yeah.
All right. Any special shout outs this week?
Not me.
No.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go on with our regular shout outs. First off, to Pop Goes to Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be a part of a great group of other podcasters. Definitely recommend that you check them out. There will be a link in the show notes. And we also want you to check out the fine men and women who make up a Podern family on Twitter, who have been so gracious enough to spread the word of the fellowship. The best way to be able to check out their work is just do a search, #Podern Family, one word, and just scroll through whatever catches your eye. Download the episode, and hopefully you have a great time listening. Thank you guys always for your support. Want to thank Maddie the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. Want you to go check out their music. We'll have a link in our show notes as well. You can listen to their stuff. Thank you guys. And finally, you, dear listener. Thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any kind of questions, comments, observations, suggestions, complaints, what have you, please send them our way. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website and go to the About Us page, and there is a contact form that you can fill out. I've already talked about our Discord. Feel free to join us there, and you can contact any one of us. We also have a channel specifically for podcast feedback that you can post whatever you like, questions or whatever you have about the episode. You can follow us on social media. On Facebook, we are The Fellowship of the Geeks. And on Twitter, we are at Fellowship Geeks. I would recommend, if you want to contact us through our social media, we would respond quicker through Twitter. So if you would follow us there, that would be great. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_Geek. I can be found at TomTCGeek. And if you'd like to follow the fake Les Webster, he is at fake Les Webster. Okay? And from wherever you download our episodes, if you please take a couple of moments to rate and review us, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Yes, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thank you for listening. We do appreciate your support as always, guys. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,